this nice Yeti mic. I prefer the quality of this camera. Also, I am investing in a lapel mic to put right here. Also, the camera angle on that kind of sucks. It's just a blank background. I have all these nice flags behind me and my desk. Woof. So, anyways, this is Drinking of a Marxist. Tonight, we're drinking Yingling, but by mistake, I grabbed the light version. So, I'd rather go full flavor, but, I guess Yingling Light will do for tonight. But how this works is that this is entirely comment driven. So if you want me to talk about something, I'll talk about it. Unless I'm not knowledgeable on it, then no investigation, no right to speak. That's how it works. Also, this is in memory of an old comrade of mine who lost their life a couple years ago, who passed away by the name of John Doe. Some of you younger Marxists probably don't know him. John was a pretty cool guy, always there for you. He's sorely missed. You guys should go check out his channel, John Doe. Absolute great guy. So, what do you guys want to talk about tonight? And for you guys just joining, I'm drinking Yingling Light by accident, but this is dedicated to John Doe. Also, this works by you guys asking me questions. Very American image here, beyond the except for the DPRK flag in the background. Well, I guess since chat's dead, keep you guys informed on what I'm doing. Right now, I'm going to start brainstorming ideas, not writing a script or anything, on a Twilight Zone, style series. I want to do it a month long, not a month long, but a week long series. But the thing is I feel that that'd be too weak because it'd just be me narrating in my worst Twilight Zone narration voice. So I want to probably get, I see fellow travelers, so this goes to you, man. I want to get you up here. I want to record a communist-inspired Twilight Zone episode where we talk about the ills of capitalism. I'm thinking about the situation in Texas, about people literally freezing to death, and having Jason Unruh on it, being a news announcer or some shit. That'd be pretty cool. But I got brainstorm ideas, write a script. It's going to be like an actual video, not like a live stream or anything. And to answer your question, traveler, since this is a very community-driven live stream, I'm doing good. But I see I got 6 viewers now. For people who are just joining in, how this works is that you ask a question through the chat, and I'll do my best to answer it. Also, if you just joined, I'm drinking Yingling. Accidentally grabbed the light version, but hey, we're here now, and I already took a sip, so I can't go to the liquor store now, or the gas station, or wherever you get your fucking alcohol from. So, any questions? Hello from Brazil, says Rafael Lisboa. Red salute, comrade. And comrade Eric Bartman says, hello, comrade. Red salute, comrade. A fellow traveler wants to know, he's in the chat, what do you know about the Texas power outages? And I talked a little bit about this on a live stream with Jason Unruh a couple days ago, which kind of just turned into a huge shitpost, but it began out as a discussion about what happened in Texas, and basically what it is neoliberal history cuts. Texas didn't want to be a part of the electrical grid, which in a certain sense, that's a good idea. I mean, the American electrical grid, ever since de-investment in our public utilities, it's absolutely gone downhill. I remember talking to a civil engineer once, and they told me that the entirety of the United States electrical grid is held together with bubble gum and duct tape, as they put it. But no, basically what it came down to is it was a privatized. Well, I think you could say it was a defunded uh, electrical system. It failed. Essentially, it was a capitalist crisis. It failed, and the conservatives that are running that state tried to put it on the socialists because apparently socialism is when you have wind turbines. Anyways, I think one of the worst parts of that is 2 days before that snowstorm hit, a local police department there, right in uh, right in Texas, uh, leveled a tent city. Which, if you don't know what a tent city is a big grouping of tents of which homeless people live in. So one homeless person said, I read an article. One homeless person said, I didn't know if I was going to survive the night. You know, they were barely clinging on. I was also following a Marxist YouTuber by the name of Svetlana. They're a transgender girl who lives in Texas. They were tweeting as the outage was going on. You know, they were freezing their ass off. You know, no power. And I think one of the most striking images from the Texas uh, freeze over, I guess you could call it, the capitalist crisis that happened there, and that might still be happening. I don't know if it's still going on, but it wouldn't surprise me. But is the like the icicle, like the stalactite like icicles that are hanging from a ceiling fan. Also, all the water lines just bursting. I mean, absolutely just bursting there. You know, just flooding out of apartment buildings, and it was. You know, this isn't supposed to happen. You know, granted, you know we're the richest country in the world, and granted, um, that's built off of imperialism, but still, you know, we're not the working class doesn't get any of that wealth anymore. Things are changing. Revolution's more possible. Let's see. Message retracted. Where did you get the DPRK flag? Asked Yom Tom. Amazon a couple of years ago. I got it in 2017. What are the poverty levels in America at the moment? Bad. Uh, MIT classifies a great portion of America as a third world country. In fact, the epitome of this is a place called Skid Row in California. In fact, it's an American term to describe a place that's very much on the edge of society, like a town that's on the edge of society. You call it Skid Row because there is a town, city in California called Skid Row. It has the highest amount of population, and you can it basically looks like a third world country that has been depleted by neocolonialism and imperialism, which basically it has been. Let's see what my other comrades are saying. Let's see, go down a little further. What do you think will happen first in the U.S. Revolution or shattering apart? Um, it's hard to tell at this point. I mean, I'm not, I don't have my crystal ball on me. At least not right at the moment. I left that at the laundromat. That was a stupid thing to say. But God, I hope that this country doesn't fall apart. The last thing this country needs is balkanization, um, and I mean like literal balkanization, like not just splitting apart and becoming different states, but have resource wars because the Republic of Michigan we're trying to get steel from the Republic of what's that northern state that I sailed to? Fuck. Of Minnesota, yeah, because we need to get steel from the Minnesota from the Iron Ranges in Minnesota, and we can't get it because the tariff or some shit. So then other states go to war with Minnesota for their iron ore to make steel, which makes cars and weapons of war and stuff. So it's just the absolute nightmare. Getting oil from Texas to power the uh, the iron ore refineries in Ohio, to which that iron ore comes from Minnesota. It's better if this country stays together. Granted, I get that this country is built on neo-colonialism, but that doesn't mean that we can fight against the neo-colonialism, the cops and everything, and we can unify this country in a proletarian culture. Let's see what else is there. Yeah, I'm Tom. I kind of gotta admit, man, I kind of do like Deng. I do believe Deng was a right opportunist. I believe the Communist Party of China are right opportunists, and that they're taking a right opportunist line right now, or in a sense oh, not a Wang Ming line, but a Bukharinite line, and but in the end, I still believe that they're communists that are trying to build socialism. Because in the end, their party program does make sense. There still is a lot of poverty in China. They do need to level out productive forces, especially in Xinjiang, which is the poorest province in China, which explains part of the extremism. And I'm not going to blame that on Muslims. I'm going to blame it on the poverty there. And I believe one of the things that's holding back China from becoming socialist is Xinjiang. Let's see what my comrades are saying. Oh, I hate this phone. Let's see. Reject electricity. We must return to democratic Kampuchea. You better take off those glasses, son. Let's see. Rafael Laboza. Half of Brazil works with Uber and the other half is unemployed. Wow, that's bad. The fact, I mean, I'm not trying to diss your country, but, the gig economy is not a stable way to go. Because, you actually have to have, productive forces in order to support the gig economy. And that's what the gig economy is. It's just a gig. In fact, I had to go to AutoZone today because the battery in my truck died because it's been so cold here. Like, it got almost, I think for like a couple hours, a couple days ago, it got below 0 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that would be in Celsius because I'm a stupid American. But it got below 0 Fahrenheit. And so, my truck battery's dead. I had to go to AutoZone to get a new one, so I caught an Uber. And the Uber driver had 2 signs mounted on the back of his, head seat. The first one on his head seat was, please be kind and courteous. But then the other one was like, an Orwellian nightmare. It says, please rate me positive. If I dip before 4.7 stars, Uber will not allow me to make money, and therefore I cannot feed my family. And I'm just like, wow. In fact, I posted that on my Twitter. I didn't post that on my community page yet. But that is some authoritarian neoliberal bullshit. That is fucking Orwellian. That is dystopian. Granted, 4.6 stars. If someone on Uber has 4.6 stars, I'm still going to, let them drive me. But, if you dip below 4.7 stars, that's almost like near perfection. That's, no different than if you're working in a really tightwad factory, I guess you could call it, and they're making you pump out more than what you can actually pump out and saying, you need to be pumping this out or else, you're going to get fired. It's the same thing. Maintain good perfection for this company. We own you. We own your livelihood. Fuck you. We don't care what you think. That's what that basically comes down to. Marcelo Servo. Yeah, I mean, Deng's not one of my favorite people, but in the end, the Cultural Revolution, yeah, it did have some good things. Certain places achieved communism. But in the end, people got really sick of the instability of the Cultural Revolution. The Red Guards were completely out of hand, and that's why I think Zhao Enlai defected to Deng Xiaoping, who was gaining popularity and support because he wanted to stabilize the country. In fact, there's actually two Tiananmen Square incidents. There's the one you're thinking of in 1989 with the tank guy, but then there was one in April of 1975, I think it was, maybe 74, in which people began to protest the Cultural Revolution, and they wanted stability. They were done with the Cultural Revolution. One thing to know about the Red Guards, though, and this is also a comment on today's quote unquote Red Guards, is that in the I think it was the 16 points laid out by Mao Zedong for the Cultural Revolution. Mao said, "Don't go around beating the fuck out of people." And of course, what the Red Guards do? They went and beat the fuck out of people, which is something today's Red Guards, do. Remember the severed pig's head? That incident? Yeah, fuck that. Um, you know, these today's Red Guards are a pale comparison to the Red Guards of before, and are a complete pale comparison compared to what Mao wanted in the Red Guards. Zhao Enlai is based. Zhao is pronounced somewhere closer to Joe or Zhou. Somewhere in between the two, by the way. Okay, I've always known it as, oh, well, then again, I'm not Chinese, so I say everything very anglicized. But I've always known it as Zhao Enlai. Then again, we can't, we only just changed on how we want to, spell Chinese names and such. It used to be Mao Zedong, now it's Mao Zedong. Personally, I like the older spelling better. I think with the hyphen, I think it looks nice. Don't write Zhao. The American will pronounce it as Zoe. The Qing Empire was based. No. Oh, so I saw a meme. I saw a joke. A big goof. It said they pronounced the Qing Empire, the Qin Empire as like Qin. So it was like that Drake meme, right? It was like a picture of Emperor Qin, and it was like this. But then it was a picture of the Habsburgs, and it said Qin, like English, your Qin. And I was like, yeah, the Qin dynasty. It's true that many of the so-called Red Guards were actually children of the party bureaucrats, when the entire point of the Cultural Revolution was to recorrect the bureaucrats' line. I haven't heard that before. Thank you. You got it. Zhao. Sorry, I might be a little buzzed right now. This may be a light beer, but Yingling gets right to you, man. If any of you can get a hold of Yingling and you're legal, and you're of legal age for it, get it. You will have a great time, like I am right now. All my homies hate Wade Giles. Represent. Oh, shit. Shit. You didn't see that. That didn't happen. I did not commit a party foul. Totally just didn't happen. No party foul. Review on the play. No party foul. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. It smells like alcohol now. Hey, Emmy. How you doing? Guys, you guys should check out Amelia Reed's Theory on YouTube. She has a very good channel. She also has a very nice voice to read theory with, and she needs to post more goddamn videos. I'm sorry, I misgendered you. They need to read more videos. What's your opinion on the Communist Party USA? Okay, so story time. Back when I was in the PC USA, in fact, when I was in their youth league, I got appointed to their external affairs. So, I was in the Politburo, the youth Politburo. And I remember Angelo D'Angelo, the general secretary, telling me about his time in the PCUSA and one of the reasons that made him leave. They were trying to throw out the right opportunist of the party, and they're having a vote. And so, they had the vote, and the votes were getting counted, but then the person counting the votes said, there's been a miscount. So essentially, they gerrymandered the vote so that so that you know the right opportunist would stay in. Someone's messaging me on Messenger. My IRL friend wants to watch my stream, so I just radicalized him. So remember, comrades, it is possible to radicalize your fellow working class members. And the thing is, it's immediate to our goals. We can't just do this through YouTube. We have to actually go out. Marcel, no, I have stated this earlier. I am from Ohio, which is punishment in and of itself. Let's see. Oh, your computer broke. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know how Best Buy in your area is, but right now I got my computer on a loan. I took out about $1,500 loan with the Best Buy program, and I'm only paying $29 a bucks for it for my computer, and it's like a high-end gaming PC, so it's perfect for my editing because I'm like really, really OCD about my editing. In fact, you guys can ask Comrade Ned about that. If you guys remember, a couple weeks ago, I had Comrade Ned over from Arizona, and he watched me edit, and he is like, "You are more OCD than I am." And Comrade Ned, let me tell you, that man is fucking OCD. Holy shit! I had to deal with him for a full weekend. The Anglicist says, "Yo, what's up? Represent Ireland." Let's see. Yes, I do live in the Marshall Islands. Don't smoke. Smoking kills. We're dying every second, man. But seriously, don't smoke. Uh, I picked this up as a social activity to, help me make friends better, which I do now because, someone needs a cigarette. It's like, hey, man, want to smoke? But, no, don't smoke. It is a hobby that kills, and this is a hobby for me. I do like tobacco. Fun fact: Lenin, right? Lenin, Vladimir Lenin. Uh, Trotsky and Stalin used to like to smoke, and keep in mind, Lenin was a very passive, aggressive individual. In fact, I think in Imperial Criticism, he dedicated the entire book to one comrade who, I think, if I'm quoting this loosely, but he said, to whose theory is wrong, and then he quotes the entire thing to him. That's just how passive aggressive Lenin was. But when someone would smoke in the presence of Lenin indoors, Lenin would go to the nearest window and passive aggressively lift it up and stare at you while you're smoking. I think both Trotsky and Stalin commented on that. Which also, I shouldn't smoke in my apartment. There's a no smoking rule, but they can just take it out of my security deposit. I put down double on my security deposit just for, like a safety net, just in case, I get laid off during COVID or something. More out of pocket, but it works. My thoughts on World Workers' Party. I have thoughts, definitely, based on people who I know who are from World Workers' Party. I know the inner workings of World Workers' Party. And all I can say is based on those inner workings and the secrets they told me that they want me to keep, I'm not very okay with World Workers' Party. There's a lot that goes on there that I'm not allowed to say because this person who was very in World Workers' Party won't let me say them. In fact, I kind of was in World Workers Party. I was in their youth section for a while called FIST, Fight Imperialism, Stand Together, which later got turned into SINA after it was purged from the party. But I'm already saying too much. Let's move on. I also recommend UFO brand beer because they are at least worker owned. I'll have to check them out, but I don't think I get them in my area. Let's see. Yeah, Emmy. Yeah, they do like loans. It's like a car loan, right? But it's not something that's going to break the bank. I mean, okay, so when I got the loan, I'll admit I had like a killer credit score. Now I don't anymore. Not that I missed payments or anything. It's just having that extra credit brought down my credit score. But no, I'm only paying $29 a month for this laptop, and I think I have it already like 30% paid off. If that's what my credit uh, tracker is saying. So, I mean, if that type of money, with that type of payment, you can just make advance payments, and then about before you know it, you have it paid off. Also, depending on the type of videos you do, unless you want to do like actual videos that have your face in them, with the type of videos you're doing, Emmy, I would just say like a little pad, like a touchscreen pad, like one of those lower end ones that Microsoft produces. That'd be perfect for what you're doing. Let's see. Sorry, I'm texting my friend. Well, no, the stream's good and going, and it's just like it's going good. Why don't you jump in the chat, man? All right, let's see what people are saying. Well, dang, thanks for the tip. I'll look into it definitely. Yeah, no, it's real good. Let's see. I've never had beer. What is it like? It's good. Beer's pretty cool. I like beer. PSL base, my branch has been doing the work, so I never sought to join an ML party in the West. I saw the PSL organize the BLM movement there in my city, away from liberal co-ops and its messaging. I mean, I tried. I'm not a big fan of any party in this country, and you could say, oh, you're whatever. But I tried joining the PSL a while back. Excuse me. Excuse me. I tried joining them a while back. I got the phone call from the recruiter, but there was no follow up. And I tried following up with them, and they just left a voicemail. Marcel, hit me up on Discord, and we'll have a private conversation after the stream's over. But I won't be typing it; I'll be saying it. Thank you, microphone. All right, what are some things people want me to talk about? Let's go. Thank God it's not fizz. Let's see. Someone commented. Cool. Thanks. You're welcome. Yeah. Yeah, I think I received the nicest comment from fellow traveler I ever got when he came over to do a live stream with me and Comrade Net. He was like, "You've been working out?" I go, "No." He's like, "Dude, you look pretty swole right now." And I was like, "Thanks." So if you're in the chat, fellow traveler, thank you. I have a tattoo of Stalin, though. That's nice. I wish I could get more tattoos, but you know, if I didn't have a $700, well, okay, I'm paying $700 for rent, but that's with like all my utilities included in it, except for internet, which comes out tomorrow, and I'm not too happy about that. I got paid, it's not going to hurt my pocket, but it's like, I kind of wish this was like, my parents, were my age. Rent was only $300, for their apartment. And it's like, can I have that? That'd be pretty nice. Get a few more tattoos. In fact, I was thinking about getting a hammer and sickle tattoo somewhere. It's either some sailor tattoos, like hold fast written across my knuckles, or some sparrows. Get my sparrows, or get the rope around my wrist that shows that I'm a deckhand, or have been a deckhand, because once a deckhand, always a deckhand. Let's see what people are saying. I made a new ideology, Juche Islamism. What do you think? You know, Juche Islamism. That's something. Not enough communism. That's all I gotta say. What is your opinion on North Korea? In fact, I actually wrote a book on this, Chest Plate 7745. I wrote it a couple of years ago. It's a little, my earlier books, which I'm trying to separate from my earlier books compared to the book I'm writing now. That's kind of amateurish. I wrote it in high school. But no, I wrote it. It's called Forwards to Revisionism. Look it up. You'll be putting some cash in my pocket too if you want to help me towards my rent and my beer money. That'd be greatly appreciated. But I think North Korea, while still socialist, and to a certain extent still Marxist, is revisionist. And I don't like using that term revisionist because it gets thrown around a lot. I'm gonna put this up a little bit. But, they have some very revisionist lines that aren't exactly Marxist. For example, the army is the leading factor in world history. Whereas, Marx would say, and every other communist would say, no, it's the working class. But check out my book, Forwards to Revisionism. I go into each stage of Juche, which I separate into Kim Il Sungism. In fact, link in the description of my bookstore if you guys want to go support me and buy some of my books. I do need to make some edits to my book on the Gulag Archipelago. I have some spelling errors and stuff in there. For example, I think I misspelled the acronym for the NVKD. So, I need to work on that. Let's see what people are saying. Show off them guns, Daddy Red. All right. Dude, look how toned this fucking arm is getting, man. So, like, my workplace, we have to lift these heavy ass things called brackets. Some of these things are like fucking on their own. They're like 200 pounds. And I have to carry them from one side of the workshop to the other side. So, get pretty pumped. The legal ones. I don't know, man. This is America. All guns are legal. You have a Facebook or Instagram, send it to you. You will be proud. I don't know what you're talking about, Vladim. Wait, what? I don't know what you're talking about, Emmy. What do you think we could start a international socialist movement like common in terms of unachievable? I think one of Stalin's greatest errors was taking away the Comintern, because that was one of the things that really unified all the communist parties. Granted, I do feel that the Soviet Union did have too much of a hegemony over other socialist countries, and that's true. You can't debate that. They did. In fact, there was a book I had. I've lost it since, but I think it was called Chairman Mao Talks to the People. I got it off Amazon for a penny, and free shipping because Prime. But essentially, the hegemony over the Soviet Union was so bad. Mao was talking that the Soviets were saying, the Chinese, were saying to the Chinese, don't eat your eggs. They're poisonous, which was bullshit. Absolute horseshit. But I do think that something like the common intern should be, the common intern or the common form should be reestablished, especially with the way that finance capital is trying to wreck socialist countries. Let's see. Hey, Falcone, General. Isaiah, you son of a bitch. What you doing? How you doing, man? Fuck, man. I need to get you on one of these streams now that you're becoming a full flame. One day, Comrade Isaiah, we will take down the bourgeoisie hand in hand. This is big news to me, man. Isaiah, my friend Isaiah Haney, who I helped move Franklin. I said you won't do it. Tell Addie I will fucking do it, and she's lying. I always do what I achieve, just like that North Korean song. Korea does what it's determined to do. I do what I'm determined to do. Can't tell me. You need to get your come see me. It's been forever. That's the only payment I asked for. Fidel made the mistake of direct economic dependence on the USSR. Yes, but also the problem is that Cuba had no one to trade with. For example, even today, Cuba has trading issues because of the embargo. Instead of getting, school buses from Miami, they're getting them from Tokyo. So, there's always a good import-export ratio that you need. And it's usually you have more exports than imports. However, Cuba has a bigger import ratio rather than their export ratio. And I feel that's what's led to some of the liberalization reforms with small-time private property being allowed in certain sectors that the state's having trouble with. And keep in mind in Cuba, though, that the means of production are still owned by the workers and it's still democratically controlled by the workers. Therefore, Cuba is still socialist. Just like Karl Marx said, I have critique of the Gotha program somewhere laying on the floor. But, the transition to socialism is always going to be iffy, especially with the way finance capital is set up and trying to screw over countries, like how the IMF or the World Banks is set up, to try to screw over countries. Did you see Infrared is debating Bosch? I really don't care. Yeah, for sure. I'll have to drop it. Discuss how to defeat the bourgeoisie. Addie can. This is actually going pretty well. I peaked at 20 subscribers, but because usually how my streams work is, I do a live stream. It's usually only about 5 people. 20 people, that's pretty good. And then, I get all my views later once this gets re-uploaded to YouTube. Oh, and thank everyone for helping make my documentary, my mini documentary, a success. I'm almost 2,000 views on that, which is the most views I've gotten in a while. So thank you very much. I'm not making as many views as a Hakeem is, the Marxist YouTuber from I think Iraq. He Marxist YouTuber. Thank you. Sorry, had a bit of an outage in my internet there. Fucking AT&T. All right, guys. Oh, Isaiah, I'm doing this all night. Maoist, third worldist movement as Marxist Leninist, or you Marxist Leninist Maoist, or you Hojist. you a third worldist, and in the end, I'd say I'm just it's the science of Marxism Leninism. I'm sick of all these petty divisions. It's all bullshit. Synthesize the good ideas from each ideology from and into Marxism Leninism. That's what Marxism Leninism is. A science. It's something that it's not it's not a static ideology that stays the same forever like monarchism. It's always sorry, not my electric. This isn't this. Thank God, it's Ohio. Uh, but more. It's only making the movement more and more fractured. We don't need. We also need to stress that communism is just not another. When they're advocating communism, you can't just say, "Oh, to be put in Congress." Communism is a new social order. It's a new world order. Not in the way that Alex Jones thinks. Oh, the new world order. No, socialism is going to be um, a new world in the way that the social relations are structured. Let's see. Yeah, what's important, Mouse? Third worldist movement. What do you need to know, bud? I'm all ears. I got all night. I got all tomorrow. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. Oh, there it goes. Oh, we need to do something about the repression of the global South communists. I don't know what you're talking about. I can be tripping sometimes. Yes, you're lagging. I said nothing about different tendencies. I didn't. That's not I meant to come off. What are your thoughts on censorship and surveillance in China? Well, I mean, that's a part of the vanguard. I mean, I'm not saying, oh, we need to be this Orwellian state, but the thing is that there is infiltration in every social society. For example, when the Soviet Union was first formed, every major capitalist country invaded. In fact, a lot of people don't know that technically, America invaded the Soviet Union, or technically it wasn't the Soviet Union because America didn't formally recognize the Soviet Union. Um, that during the Civil War, that we invaded Russia to stop it, to stop the Bolshevik Revolution. In fact, in New York City, there's a monument towards the for the Marines who died in the invasion of the what we can call, which was at the time, for all intents and purposes, the Soviet Union. So capitalist encirclement, as it's called, is a real thing. Capitalist countries are going to try to come in and take back and implement back capitalism in former socialist countries. In fact, look at Fidel Castro. He had over 100 assassination attempts on his life. Um, the capitalists will eventually try to um, bring us down, and that's why revolution is authoritarian. Every revolution is authoritarian. Even the American Revolution was authoritarian. Look how many insurrections were squashed by the United States government following the American Revolution. All right, Isaiah, I see you're dipping out for the night. Good night, Omi. But how many revolutions were squashed during the American? I mean, not revolutions. How many insurrections were suppressed during the American Revolution? Um, in fact, one of those, George Washington, came out of retirement to squash an insurrection. So the very nature of revolution is authoritarian, and that's something that we have to learn from. Is that when you're implementing a new society, you can't just say, "Oh, be nice. Don't overthrow us for and especially after everything we worked hard for." It is authoritarian, and I feel like this is what some, quote unquote anarchists get wrong because they say, "Oh, you guys are authoritarian." It's like, yeah, we're authoritarian. The nature of revolution is authoritarian. If your revolution is not authoritarian, it will get overthrown. All right, I'm interested in what that will be, Mouse or Worldus. It's 3 a.m. in the UK. How am I coming through now, guys? Am I coming through okay? All right, good. Uh, sorry, AT&T kind of sucks, but my other option was the local provider, which sucks worse, or Spectrum, which, I mean, in a tier list, AT&T, Spectrum, local provider. And God, I'm not taking the local provider. They suck. I better finish this beer. Got more in the fridge. So, what do you guys want me to talk about? I got all night. I am not aware what Starlink is. What is Starlink? Chested plate. Can you please explain to me what whatever that star thing is? Based on what information you give me, if it's well informed, I will make an opinion off of it. So yeah, if you could explain to me what Starlink is, or if someone else has a different topic. Let's see here. Do we live in a simulation? No, we don't. If we did, I don't think it would make our condition any different. 'Cause as far as we know, if this is a simulation, then we can't leave it, or there's no way to leave it. So it's better to change the simulation and all become Neo. In fact, if you watch the original first Matrix, I noticed there's a lot of like anti-capitalist sentiment in that movie. It's pretty cool. To which the red pill we should commandeer from the rightists. It's SpaceX, internet. Oh fuck no, no. Internet should be a public utility. It should be free to everyone. Okay. The internet is the modern library. And granted, while I like books, I prefer books. I got a whole bookshelf, set up right there. I prefer books, but in the end, the internet is more better because you can get information faster and you can process information faster. Internet should be a public utility. It should be a free public utility. Cuban solidarity is important. It is. What are your thoughts on the Solar Revolution in socialist Afghanistan? I don't know a lot about either. I'd say socialist Afghanistan is pretty cool. I don't know what the Solar Revolution is. One question: if you drank any Irish Stout, and if you saw which one, does Guinness count? Well, Vosh got destroyed and called out for his pedophilia. Well, yeah, he needs to be called out for his pedophilia. I don't even care if you're not a pedophile, and okay, even if you're not a pedophile, and you're saying, "Oh, child pornography should be legal," in my eyes, you're still a pedophile because you're enabling pedophilia. First Matrix is kind of trippy. It is, and it's the best one. Red is for socialism. Blue is for the color of the capital. Yes. How we doing, ass humble height Henry? Doing pretty good, especially with this little thing right here. Yingling. It's a good beer. If you're of age, get it. The internet will not last. I have my worries. I do believe that too. Well, in the sense that I do believe we will still have, internet connections and stuff, and everyone will still have their own, access to internet in their homes, but it's becoming more and more centralized. In fact, yeah, you could say, rose tinted glasses and everything, but I miss the days of when, the internet was less centralized. In fact, some of my best times of life, you know, outside of the IRL world is in the more and more decentralized internet and exploring it. Like YTMD. You're the dog now, dog, or whatever the fuck that was. Those great times. But you can't do that shit anymore. Copyright's slowly creeping in, trying to destroy memes and shit. It's just, you can't. No, no. You should all read Red Shiism. Show it gives you understand how Shia and Islam develop class character. And that's something that I think Caleb Maupin is very misunderstood on. I can't remember if um, Iran is Shia or Shiite. I think it's Shia. I could be terribly wrong in that. But a lot of people say, oh, you went to Iran. You're a terrible person for that. And it's like, he was doing a solidarity mission. But also it taught him the very socialist principles that are found in Islam, or more so every Abrahamic religion from Judaism, Christianity to Islam. L for Vosh, big L. We should form a united front of workers of leftist parties. I think that's what anti-fat is. However, we could do less without the college students that are fucking shit up. I don't hate Caleb Maupin, but he's seriously bothering me these days. I mean, I've always had my differences with Caleb. Caleb knows this. I've talked openly with him about it. In fact, I've known Caleb longer than I've known Jason Unruh. In fact, for you guys who don't know, me and Caleb both came from the same hometown, both of which we both moved out of. But a high school teacher put us in contact through his personal email, and we've been in contact ever since. I've on and off organized with him on stuff. Other than that, great guy. Gets too much shit. I disagree with the socialist billionaires thing, and it's okay to disagree. It's part of the dialectic. We can't, entrap and make the dialectic static. It has to keep moving. We can't become flunkyists, like I said in my one video. But yeah, Caleb, good guy. Gets too much shit. Just because he was with Dugan, and he had an open conversation with him, which is something even Mao said to do, it doesn't make him a fascist, no, or a fascist sympathizer. I mean, if you've read what he actually says and what he talks about, he's very much against fascism. Do you think some form of money belongs in a socialist state? Well, yeah, in the early developments, yeah, definitely. In fact, I think it's in Cuba. They use the surplus value of the workers and fund it back in the state. That way, they can fund what is it? That way, they can fund healthcare and stuff. Oh, thank you, Mouse, to the Rollist Movement. What is your Marxist tendency? I am a Marxist-Leninist, but and let me rephrase what I mean by this. Okay, I'm not just I I don't support Marxism, Leninism. I don't support Orthodox Marxism. I don't support Hoxhaism. I don't support Maoism. I don't support any ism. I just support Marxism, Leninism because it's a science that evolves. you know, these whole personal ideologies, Maoism, Hoxhaism, I'm against it. What we need to do is we need to synthesize Marxism, Leninism for our current struggle. I'm always bothered by people who subscribe to, Connellyism or Hoxhaism. To me, you're subscribing more to the person than you are to the actual science of Marxism, Leninism. Marxism, Leninism is a science that evolves. Therefore, the term for Hoxhaism, for Maoism, it's all incorrect. It's all semantics. Getting low on cigarettes. I think it's rule of thumb that when you drink a lot, you smoke a lot. Granted, my alcohol tolerance is fucking down. I haven't drank in a while. So, I'm smoking a lot too. See what everybody else has to say. But yeah, humble Hike Henry, that's my tendency. I'm a Marxist-Leninist, but in the sense that, I'm not a static Marxist-Leninist. I'm not, just some orthodox Marxist-Leninist. I'm a Marxist-Leninist in the sense that it is a science, a dialectical science that changes and evolves. For example, Lenin tends very much had a very hard-lining stance against religion, which I don't. I have a hard line stance against, Christendom or the rule of a Christian society, which is anti-Christian. Therefore, I'm also a Christian because I am against Christendom. All right, what's going on in chat? All right, what's anything else someone wants me to talk about? Anything. I'll listen to anything you guys have to say. You got all night. Semantics, yes, Mason, but I can strongly argue for both the names of Maoism and third worldism. I don't. It's bullshit. Thoughts on the Cultural Revolution? Started off good, ended up messy. In fact, I was talking about this earlier. There was actually two Tiananmen incidents or protests. There's the one you're thinking about that happened in 1989 with the tank. You think of that, and you think the tank man. The events that didn't happen. But in fact, there was one in I think April of 1975, a Tiananmen Square incident, in which people were protesting against the Cultural Revolution because it created so much instability, kind of wrecked the economy, and that's what allowed Deng Xiaoping to get into power. What American communist movement inspires you the most? I would either have to say the early communist movement during the 30s or the Black Panthers, but mostly the Black Panthers. Are you pro using religious arguments for advancing communism, or do you share my fear that being used against it as in Poland? I think communism stands quite well in its own arguments. I do too. But if you're religious and you want to advance communism using religious arguments, go ahead. Go ahead, do it. Communism is not against religion. That is a fallacy promoted by right-wing reactionaries. We are for the freedom of religion. Okay, but Mao's revolution, Mao's third worldist movement. In the end, Marxism and Leninism, yeah, it's a science, but in the end, these isms are just dividing us more and more. It's damaging. How has it gotten to the point in America where writers are attacking the Capitol over a lie? What I think it is I think it is old school colonialism, white privilege and stuff, all of that bursting out. In fact, that's what the two parties represent right now. There's the Republicans, which represent old school colonialism, but then there's the Democrats, with Kamala Harris and stuff that support neo-colonialism, which in all essence, neo-colonialism in America is the invisible colonialism. Thoughts on firearms? Like them. what people have to say. By the way, share this stream with your friends, your comrades, Discord servers. Go ahead, share it. Twitter. I don't give a damn. The Stasi were just police. Yeah, the role of the Stasi in East Germany is overblown. In fact, official documents, in fact, the triumph of evil very much show that the Stasi weren't as bad as they were. Like, yeah, they if you would say something anti-government, yeah, they would come and ask you because the capitalist encirclement. You literally had former fascists running the West German government. By the way, I have an East German flag right here. But you literally had former Nazis running the West German government. In fact, the West German government was very well aware of neo-Nazi paramilitaries that were ready to strike at any moment, and they were harboring them. So crackdowns on certain anti-government sentiments I can see happening. Granted, yeah, freedom of speech, but also when you have foreign governments pressing down really hard on you, and you don't have the resources like for example, the United States has a very um, unique position. We have two oceans that divide us, and all of our allies and all of our neighbors, except for Cuba, play on our terms and they're friendly with us. So we don't have to worry about what the Soviet Union and other countries have to worry about because they have uh, capitalist countries surrounding them, like China or Vietnam or Cuba or the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. You know, they don't have an ocean separating them from their enemies. They have very real threats that are literally right across the border from them. And even then, certain anti-government statements can get you arrested. In fact, I remember Caleb Maupin was telling me about how when he came back from Iran, he was detained by the Department of Homeland Security at a U.S. airport upon his entry into the United States. So these things happen with governments because governments and no, the state. I'm sorry, the state. The government is the organizational body. The state is the oppressive body. A state is always authoritarian, and that's why under the state there can be no real freedom. That's what Lenin said. How do I think revolution will play out? Ideally, I would. Um, okay, so I'm not, anti-African American. I'm not anti-black, but I'm not very much in favor of, a black nation on the fact that, there is no real basis for it at the moment. Now, maybe back in the 30s when there was a big uh, area of focus, the black belt, to create new Africa, yeah, I'd be okay with that. But at the moment, the black nation more or less represents a diaspora that really can't be uh, recognized. Whereas, the Native Americans, they still have, their land in the form of not revolutions, reservations that can be formally recognized. But if there could be a black nation, yeah, I would wholly subscribe to that. But ideally, I want this to be a country, not a nation. Well, you guys are really bringing it in. I guess I could ask you about your thoughts on food sovereignty, climate change, and rural population and natural resources. I don't know what food sovereignty is. Climate change needs to be dealt with. Definitely, it's going to wipe out all living species on this earth unless they adapt and evolve. Rural population. The rural population of America is still is it's interesting. You get things like black rednecks, which you never hear about. African Americans who fly the rebel flag, wear the rebel flag, and also, you know, the countryside is a very interesting place to be. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes is that I've moved into a city. I'm a country boy. I moved into the city. Um, I hate it here in the city, beyond the convenience, but that comes with a price, though. But really, I think there is a lot of revolutionary potential in the country because in the country, that's where you have the hidden white ghettos. The trailer parks where the lumpenized proletariat, white proletariat and it's always hidden, out of sight, out of mind. You never see it. You barely ever see a trailer park in the middle of the city. Um, uh, I do think that there's revolutionary potential in the rural folk. Natural resources need to be managed. In the day, you plan on going to China soon? I'd like to, but not with COVID. Yeah, we need to. I do think we need to focus. Yeah, we also need to focus on the rising tide of fascism in this country, but we need to focus on what's creating it, and that is neoliberalism. You know, fascist movements didn't have such a strong prominence, especially maybe except for maybe the Oakland bombing and things like the Turner Diaries. But then again, that's when neoliberalism was starting. But neoliberalism is the driving factor of fascism in this country. What do you think a house would be in a communist society? Would we all live in mansions or apartments? I can't imagine that because I can't imagine what full communism would look like. So I don't know. Humble Height says, wait, black indigenous nationalism are integral parts of Marxist-Leninism, and they are. But what I'm saying is, I have no issue with the Native Americans having a nation. I really don't. But the thing is that from the terms of what makes up a nation, the black nation, I don't really believe can really even form a country. I don't. But there's already the Native American nations, and I have no problem with that. What do you think of paramilitary and partisan movements? Okay, Jason Unruh says, "Hola, wie geht's mein Genosse? Was geht ab?" Well, I mean, the USSR did help the Arctic Ravens. I'm very serious about this. The Cuban youth are really pissed about the new markets opening up. Sanctions screw up everything. We must join the Cuban youth. I'll have to look into that. Lego is better than communism. Nah, communism's better because under communism, Lego will be free. I really think we're missing out. We can appeal to the weeaboos by telling them that under communism, anime will be free. The weeaboos will lead the revolution if we only get to them. Finish that one. All right, so what else do you guys want me to talk about? And I will look into the Cuban youth. And I'm pretty sure that they're pissed that the market opening up, but in the same instance, Cuba doesn't have many options at this point. Don't most weebs already pirate anime? Yes. But if you tell them that they don't have to pirate anime anymore and get a virus, they'll always be free. And that's a good talking point. The weebs will lead the revolution. Many weebs. I'm kind of a weeaboo. I have anime, Blu-ray, DVDs, and I am not afraid to admit that I have a REM from ReZero pillowcase. I am not afraid to admit that. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go for 17 more minutes, hour and 30 minutes, and I'm going to cut the stream for the night. What's good, Jason? Yeah, and we do need to fight anti-communist narratives. I think the movement has been doing very good recently. A spooky, scary socialist video on anti-communist myths did pretty well. The like to dislike ratio is pretty good in favor of the likes, and it's also reached a lot of people. Weed is good. I don't know. I used to smoke pot, but when I was younger, but not anymore. What do you think of Ember Hoja? He was all right. Anime fans have to be aware of the phrase "the starving artist." Yes, and this is something I want to talk about at some point: is alienation in Japan, because Japan has like this like hyper capitalism. I mean, like balls to the walls. I mean, have you ever heard of the hikikomori, which isn't something that's just limited to Japan? I think that's kind of a stereotype. But if you don't know what hikikomori is people who are so alienated by, and it's not mentioned as by capitalist society, but that's what it is. They're alienated by capitalist society that they just stay in all day. They don't go out and they live with their parents still. And it's sad, that people are this alienated. That this is how they're living. They're not actually connecting with people because their monetary wealth and stuff defines them. So in Japan, if you're not like this, then you're no worth to society. If you're not a salary man, you can fuck off. I think that's something that bleeds into the Japanese animation industry. And Jason's going to hate me hearing this, but the Japanese animation industry has a lot of revolutionary potential because there is a lot of alienation that goes on there. The business practices are absolutely terrible. They're a totalitarian, authoritarian, neoliberal running group. It's absolutely terrible the things you hear about these things. But Japan's something I want to talk about. Yes, our neat comrades indeed, says Robert Duluth. The weeds will lead the revolution. What do you think of Donald Trump? Uh, Basically, what everybody thinks about him. Well, what every leftist thinks about him. He was the last vestiges of old school colonialism, uh, and which is starting to give way to more neo-colonial reforms in the terms of the radical liberal Democrats that are popping up, which is a new form of colonialism, neo-colonialism, which is a new form of, I guess you could almost say, but I guess you could say crypto-fascism. Master Willis movement. I'm joking. It's a joke. It's a goof. All right, I know I said I'd stream to an hour and 30 minutes long, but I'm starting to get a little tired here, comrades. What do you guys want to hear me talk about? Koroshi is death by overwork. It's the term you're looking for. Pretty unsettling with the slash senpai relationship. It's and suicide rates in Eastern Asian countries are they're sad. it's a sad state of affairs because people are just expected to work all the time. They can't actualize themselves. So if they can't actualize themselves, what's the point of living if you can't self-actualize? I mean, this goes back to Karl Marx and saying that if the goal of the silkworm was to remain a caterpillar for the rest of its life, it would be the perfect example of a wage worker or a wage slave. Um, you know, and the alienation that you hear. In fact, if you've ever heard of Lulu Chan's suicide live show, stuff like that. That's a 14-year-old girl who could not, self-actualize and killed herself and live streamed it. That's pretty sad. Would workers' councils work in America? I think so. I live mostly in a Chinese neighborhood. My high school was a bunch of weebs who want to move to Japan. There's a term for that in China. I can't remember, but it's very frowned upon. There go the police. Just heard them. But yeah, there's a term in China. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I heard about it after a bunch of Chinese students dressed up like Japanese in Japanese World War II colonial uniforms, and I said, "Oh yeah, we want to be Japanese," and it blew up. But yeah, I can kind of see that. Karl Marx and Carl Jung had it down. I haven't read much of Carl Jung, and it's someone I want to read. All right, I'll answer one more question. One more question. Then I'm going to conk out for the night. Is it supposed to burn when I pee? Okay, Jason. I'm pretty sure this is related to the gonorrhea that you've been struggling with over the years. It's nothing to be ashamed about, Jason. Nothing to be ashamed about. But we all support you, comrade, with your illness. Okay, we all love you, comrade Jason Unruh. Many kisses and hugs and many red salutes. Well, okay, I'll take one more serious question, not not a joke question with a joke answer. I could beat you up in an arm wrestling competition. Yeah, right. Look at this, man. Can't take me on. Not him. Wink, wink. Just asking for a friend. What is your opinions on the works of Professor Grover Furr? Um, he's a good guy. I don't think he's really that much of a Marxist. I don't know, but I've read his books. He's pretty good. Lots of citations. Wikipedia would be jealous. When we collaborate again with Traveler and Unruh and others very soon. And on that note, I'm Red Scare TV. Red salute. And I've had a great night with you guys. As always, peace out.